Alright guys, we are back with another 5 features from other games that Hell Let Loose could steal. Hell Let Loose is a great game, but let's be honest, it's had a bit of a rough patch of late. But things are starting to look pretty good, especially with the new patch coming in. However, Hell Let Loose is not the only game I play or make videos on. Some of these games have incredible features that realistically could be adopted by Hell Let Loose. Now stick around to the end as I have saved the very best for last. And I don't want to be that guy, but if you do enjoy the video, please leave a like, as it is the best way to help me out. Alright, that's the cringe out of the way, let's get stuck into it. Number 5. Body dragging from BattleBit and other games. Now this feature has long been requested by the community and would genuinely be a meaningful feature to have. Just imagine this if you will. Your best buddy has just been downed in a field, he's just that little bit too far for the medic to get to. Normally, this would just mean he was left to die. However, if you had body dragging in the game, your unit could lay down some suppression fire and you as a heroic person could run out into the open, grab him by his testicles and drag him back into the bush, into safety. And there waiting for him is a dutiful medic ready to stab him in his butt cheeks with some morphine, a little slap on the back of the head, and he's up back into the fight. Admittedly, when I first saw this feature in BattleBit, I thought it was a bit of a meme. And it is hilarious, don't get me wrong. It does actually have a purpose and can be used to incredible effect. Plus, just dragging enemies or even friendlies over the edge of a cliff and just dropping them is brilliant. Now I know, if they did ever add it, we would have about a month of people just dragging corpses all across the snowy fields of Foy. Sounds beautiful. What do you guys reckon on this one? Let me know down in the comments. The next feature from another game, tutorial video links on the homepage. Now this is a small, somewhat insignificant sounding feature. However, given that no real training mode will ever be provided other than a shooting range, this feature from Battlefield series, at least Battlefield 4 through to current, has a little section of their homepage cornered off where links to videos from content creators have made guides and tips and tricks videos. When you take into account the quality and meticulous detail that the community has put into their guides for this game, it just seems like a no-brainer to me. I would wager that no dev, past or present, could make a more comprehensive guide than someone like Soul Sniper, for instance. Now, if they ever did make a tutorial mode, I'd say get some of these top content creators making guides, get them in a room, lock them in, chuck some food in, and just let them design the perfect training mode. Just give them the resources they need, let them do it. Just think about how much better the overall quality of the player base will be if this is something that you had to go through and it's actually meaningful and good. Maybe I'm chatting absolute rubbish, I don't know. If you're new to this game, would you appreciate either two of the features I just mentioned? Let me know down in the comments. Next up, we have a slightly weirder one, aim across sights. Now if you don't know what that is, I will explain it to you. 6 Days in Fallujah has 3 stances on firing your weapon. Hipfire. Every game has hipfire, we all understand that one. Then you have your ADS, aim down sight. You line the gun up with your eye, you look through the little hole at the back, and it lines up with 1 to 2 pillars at the front, and anything up there, dead, in theory. 6 Days in Fallujah has a third option, where you aim across the little hole at the back, the reticle if you will, which provides greater accuracy than hipfire, but less so than aim down sight. It is also quicker to bring up your gun. Now what is the point of all this, I hear you ask? Well, primarily in real life it is used for close quarters fighting, where aiming down sight in a more restricted building or narrow streets doesn't make sense, but shooting hipfire is not going to provide you with the accuracy you need. Hence, middle ground. Now, this will not be a revolutionary feature. It might not even change the gameplay too much. However, considering how well implemented I thought it was in 6 Days in Fallujah, I think it's a pretty good idea and might allow for some slightly different combat situations. Who knows? I'm just spitballing here. Let me know down in the comments. Have I just wasted my time coming up with this idea, or do you like the idea? Next up, a community-made map. I do realise I have delved deep into Fantasy World right now, but let me explain. Battlefield 4, after finishing its main run of DLCs, brought out 2 free maps. One was the remake of a fan favourite Battlefield 2 map, and the other was co-created by the community. They held polls and surveys. They discussed it in great detail with the community on what sort of setting they would like, the themes, POIs they wanted to see, everything. And with all that set up by the community, the game developers and map designers got to work and they created quite an incredible map. Very unique for the Battlefield series, and it just meant that little bit more, showing the care and consideration that DICE used to have for their community. Now, I'm not saying make any old map like fantasy setting, or don't get me wrong, that would be hilarious, but I'm talking about using the similar process to create a map from the community. Hold polls, surveys, discussions, get actual meetings together with some of the more prolific content creators, and figure out what would be the most incredible map you could make for Hell Let Loose fans. You'd get to decide the theatre of war, the theme, daytime, nighttime, what area of a specific battle you want to concentrate on. Use the insane collective historical knowledge of the entire community and develop a map that everyone wants and satisfies many itches for instance, close quarters fighting in a built-up urban area. Now, I did warn you, we were in Fantasyland, but to deny how awesome this would be insanity. For instance, we could have Dunkirk at night, fighting in the streets, getting pushed back to the beachhead as Stuka dive bombers take out people on the beach and people are just scrambling for a bit of ground to hide in. Or even half-destroyed Berlin, fighting through craters and burning rubble of a building all the way up to the Reichstag. I realise I'm going crazy right now, but just think about it. What map and theme would you want made? Let me know down in the comments, because I love hearing people's crazy ideas. Some of the best ideas I've heard were about battles I didn't even know about, and then I ended up researching them, and I'm like, God damn, this guy's a genius. Of course this would make an incredible map for Hell Let Loose. Okay, we're coming up to the big one. A campaign mode. A continuous fight through multiple maps. Now, this was actually on the cards back when Black Matter held the reins on Hell Let Loose, but in recent roadmaps seems to have been omitted or dropped entirely. With no word on whether or not it's coming back, I decided to do some of the legwork for Team 17 and flesh out some of the ideas. But first, I need to explain to you how it's been implemented before. Now, its first instance was in Battlefield 1, a beloved game by many, and it introduced us to Breakthrough, which was usually 3 maps strung together via the historic events that connected them. Battlefield 5 continued this game mode and expanded upon it with varying game modes for each map, however the premise remains the same. For instance, Day 1 was a night operation. You would drop in as a paratrooper and would have to escort bomb carriers to 1 of 4 guns and destroy them while the enemy defended and attempted to repel you. Now, this kept going until all the tickets were lost or all of the guns were destroyed. Now, as attacker, the more guns that you destroyed, the more tickets you had on the second day. And the more guns the defenders managed to keep operational meant your actual defensive structures were pre-built for you and you had more of them. Now, Day 2 took place on the exact same map but during the daytime and consisted of the usual breakthrough mode of attacking or defending 2 smaller objectives in a small sector. Once they were captured, you would move to the next, all the way through the map to the last sector. If the attackers failed, they were given a second and sometimes third chance to attack again. If they failed that, the round ended. Now, if they succeeded in capturing all of those objectives, you moved on to the Day 3, which was a bit of a hybrid mode, depending on what map it was. Both teams would push for a central flag. Whoever managed to capture the central flag was allowed to attack 3 radio sites in the enemy territory and had to destroy them, similar to the rush mode. And whoever won this took the game. Now, there was also a very rare 4th day, which only got implemented if Day 3 ended in some kind of stalemate and was essentially a TDM on the map, very limited ammo, and the actual map was shrinking around you, kind of like a battle royale, but it was absolute chaos. If you went outside the zone, you got hit by mortar fire. And now, look, I'm not suggesting we add that, I'm just saying it was bonkers and I kind of wanted to bring it up because not many people knew about it. Now, we have to translate that to Hell Let Loose. What would that look like? I'm not saying adopt every single aspect of what Battlefield has done, but the basic structure, I think, could make something incredible. Day 1, for instance, Brakor Manor. You could reintroduce the game mode that they were planning to bring out back in the summer with that incredible trailer for a smaller arms offensive of 50v50 escorting a bomb, 2 artillery guns, and destroying it. Now, depending on the success or failure of that day, would directly affect both teams on day 2, which for instance could take place on any of the D-Day beach maps. The attackers are given potentially an added garrison, or some commander abilities are just on a shorter cooldown. Now the defenders will have more resources to build up the defences and also a longer wait time. Then the game is traditional offensive. Then if the attackers win this fight, you move to somewhere further back on the line, St. Mary-Glise or St. Marie-du-Mont, and the game plays like a normal warfare, winner takes all. If the defenders win day 2, warfare is fought on the day 2 map, or you could just carry on playing offensive but you reverse the sides so it acts as a German counter-offensive. Now, I do realise the implications of such an insane game mode and how long this would actually take to play out, but it would be an experience like no other game could provide. It would make every round feel even more important. The tension would be palpable. Maybe I am crazy. I realise that such a game mode would probably take somewhere in the region to 3 to 4.5 hours. So it's not going to be for everyone. You couldn't do it all the time. I think it would genuinely drain you. But just think about the possibilities of such a large scale game mode. If you've got a better idea for a campaign style mode or any of the other things I've just mentioned in this video, let me know down in the comments. I'm gonna read every single one I can until my eyes fall out of my face. And be sure to check out my other videos that I mentioned, 6 Days in Fallujah. I've got a couple of Battlefield videos if you're in the mood for something a little bit different. Subscribe for more, join the Discord for a sensory overload of memes, and maybe even find your very own battle buddy. That's all from me. I've been McBluffin, and I'll see you all in the next one. I better see you in the next one. I better. Yeah. You still lingering because you've looked at the timeline and wondered why I'm doing my outro so early. Have you liked the video yet? Have you clicked the thumb? Do it. This video won't end until you do. I'll just play some music while I wait. I can do this all day. Just click it, then click subscribe. Okay, thank you.